Hello, I'm Mamie Bah. Thank you for joining us for Intersections. Here's what you can expect in this month's episode.
It was one of the president's first moves, signing an executive order ending federal support for gender-affirming care for transgender minors.
It signifies to, the youth that they don't matter.
Coming up, the ripple effects of that decision and how families and providers are navigating the changes. And then, joy. Toys, and even more toys. A historically Black fraternity marking 30 years of giving holiday cheer.
Next month makes 1 year since President Trump signed an executive order aimed at cutting federal support for certain types of gender-affirming care for people under 19 years old. The order covers gender-affirming care that includes puberty blockers, hormone replacement therapy, and surgical procedures. A few months later, in June, UPMC discontinued care for patients under 19. Soon after, Penn State Health followed their lead. My guest today is here to talk about the impact this has had on the LGBTQIA+ community. Dina Stanley, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
You are the founder of Trans Uniting.
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about, first and foremost, what does gender-affirming care entail? And what are some of the misconceptions?
Absolutely. It's healthcare. It's healthcare for individuals that are able to go into a space to have care like everyone else, that will be safe in those spaces. If a person, has a certain type of pronoun, that they will respect their pronouns. Everyone gets affirming care. People get, breast augmentations, people get BBLs, people get liposuctions, people get different types of affirming care. So it's just odd to me when it comes to trans individuals, it's an issue. And moreover, it's an issue for the youth. We're talking about children who are just getting, most of the time, therapy, or going into a doctor's office where they're able to wear affirming clothing, and be able to be called by their pronouns that they want to be called by. That's what we're talking about, and that to some folks are, it's affirming care for them.
Yeah, and we know your organization does a lot of work. Talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing on the ground nearly 1 year later since this executive order was signed.
A lot of people in distress. They don't know what to do, where to go. Folks that are having a lot of suicidalities and just struggling with a day-to-day of living because they don't have that care that they actually need.
Yeah, and I mean, some people might argue that it's not, the legal age to drink is 21.
Yes.
You can't make certain decisions until you're 18 years old.
Absolutely.
I mean, some people might say this is about protecting children.
If you're 18 years old, you're legal to vote, you're illegal to smoke cigarettes. You should be able to make a decision with what you want to do with your body over 18. Under 18, we're talking about kids most of the time who are just going to get therapy, and we're affirming clothing into their doctor's appointment and be called by the name they choose, be called by the pronouns that they choose. That's what we're talking about, and there's so much misconception out there, and it's dangerous, but that is for a reason. We are the smoking mirrors, in a sense. They're using us to be able to do all of the wrong that they're doing behind closed doors, to take away care from other smaller minority groups. But they have to start somewhere. We are their guinea pigs.
You feel like that's what's happening?
Absolutely. It's not even a feeling. That's exactly what's happening, because they're coming for us first. They are experimenting to see how far they can go, what they can do before they start attacking other sectors of minority groups.
And some of the young people that you all work with, what are they saying?
They're devastated, that they cannot get the care that they need. But we are working with them to figure things out as much as possible.
What do you say to people who support these policies?
Educate yourself. And don't just listen to what is the propaganda that's being put out there. Really educate yourself, because we are talking about kids that are just going to get basic health care, you would want your child to have basic health care. Why are you, so against these children getting basic health care? There's no child that's getting all of these crazy surgeries like they're putting out there.
Yeah, I know the order talks about hormone blockers. It
Yes.
talks about, but UPMC and Penn State Health, they say they are still providing mental health services to people.
They're not. That's the problem. And when these kids are going into into any healthcare facility, they're not being called by their pronouns. They're not being respected as these children. And what do you think that's doing to their mental? That's causing mental distress to these kids.
Yeah.
They're not being respected.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So I did reach out to UPMC. We do have a statement from them as well as Penn State Health, so we will be hearing from them soon. But I do want to put out there, they did not say anything about not calling people by their pronouns. They did make it clear that mental health services are still available and that they are there to provide service for all kinds of people. And I know you're disagreeing with that, but we do want to put that out there. And, just another thing that I do want to ask, what do you see happening a year from now when we reach the 2-year mark?
A year from now, community is going to take care of community. So we have to figure something out, because we don't want folks going to the black market. I come from an era where we had to go to the black market. I was a youth that was trans, and I had to go to the black market. And I know what it has done to a lot of my friends that are not here no longer because of them taken to the black market. I don't want that to happen at all whatsoever. So we're going to protect our own and figure out ways. There will be states and places and people that will come to help. And yeah, that's what I'm seeing. And we're going to continue to fight, this injustice, because again, they're only starting with us. They're not ending with us. They're starting with us. So people need to understand that. So while you are rallying and saying yes, we agree with this, when it's your turn, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This conversation is not over. We still have more left. Our conversation continues next. The ACLU of Pennsylvania joins us. We look at legal challenges to the executive order nearly 1 year later. Joining us for this part of the conversation is the ACLU of Pennsylvania. This is Richard Ting. Richard, thank you so much for joining us. Richard, the ACLU of Pennsylvania has made it very clear where they stand when it comes to this issue.
Yes, thank you for having me. So the ACLU of Pennsylvania supports all transgender patients who are being affected by the executive order and UPMC and Penn State Health's decision to stop care for patients under 19.
Yeah, and why do you believe the order is not right? It's unconstitutional, excuse me.
Yeah, so this is actually currently being litigated. There's a case called PFLAG v. Trump. That's ACLU Pennsylvania is not involved in that case, but the ACLU National Office and ACLU of Maryland are involved in that case. And there are several legal reasons why we think that executive order is not valid. The first is that it violates the separation of powers doctrine in the U.S. Constitution. So in other words, the executive order is directing the Department of Health and Human Services to withhold federal funding in a way that is not authorized by Congress. That's the boring legal explanation. But there's also federal statutes that prohibit sex discrimination by healthcare institutions, including the Affordable Care Act. So we believe the executive order violates that as well, and also the Equal Protection Clause of the U.S. Constitution.
Yeah, and we do know that it takes a lot of time for these things to be litigated, and it might take time before we see any resolve.
Yes, so that's one of the frustrations of the legal system, but in this case, there is actual decisions that have happened. So right now, there actually is a court injunction in place issued by the federal court in Maryland that prohibits the federal government from withholding funding on the basis of that executive order. That case, though, is still being litigated. The Trump administration appealed. The case is pending at the United States Court of Appeals for the Fourth Circuit.
Yeah, UPMC and Penn State Health followed suit in making their decisions. Were they legally required to do so?
No, they were not required to do so. So one thing that's important to keep in mind is that an executive order is just a direction by the president to a federal agency on how that federal agency should enforce and implement laws that were passed by Congress. So in this case, it was just an instruction to Department of Health and Human Services to withhold funding from healthcare providers that provide certain types of healthcare. So what happened, unfortunately, is that a lot of healthcare institutions like UPMC and Penn State Health, they just chose to end care before anything actually happened because they were afraid of losing federal funding.
I mean, some would say, that's the right move to make. I mean, what if, as a hospital organization, you're not able to do certain things because you rely on that funding? What do you say to that?
And did you want to say something?
That funding will be cut regardless. So, they're going to find a way to cut the funding. So why would you not fight for the folks that need the care? Because it's about health care. That funding, if they want to cut it, they're going to find a way to cut it. So yes, they came this angle, like I said earlier, and they're starting with us, but they're not going to end with us. So they started coming in this direction with us, but they're not going to end until they're able to cut it, because the ultimate goal is to gut Obamacare. So they have to go in and start, mingling around, with different minority groups. Such as, trans folks. We were the last folks to be able to get health care, essentially, before, everything happened with the Trump administration.
Yeah.
And just, I guess, to add a maybe slightly more optimistic view on that, like I said, there have been legal challenges. Yeah. There have been successes in the courts so far. Unfortunately, it takes a long time for that to fully resolve in the courts. And there are other institutions that did not stop care. They are still providing the care. And like I said, there is currently a court injunction that prohibits the government from withholding funding on that basis. So for now, there really is no threat, but it is disappointing that some healthcare providers have nonetheless decided to stop care.
Yeah. So we did reach out to UPMC for a comment. The health network said it has an unwavering commitment to provide exceptional care to every patient. In a statement, a spokesperson said in part, as we monitored executive branch memos, directives, subpoenas, and other guidance from the Trump administration, it became abundantly clear that our clinicians could no longer provide certain types of gender-affirming care without risk of criminal prosecution. This included specific restrictions on puberty blockers and hormone therapy for individuals under the age of 19. We also reached out to Penn State Health. The organization says it is committed to providing care for transgender and gender diverse people in a supportive and safe environment. In a statement, a spokesperson said in part, under our policy updated in May 2025, Penn State Health does not perform gender-affirming surgeries or provide any type of gender-affirming medical or pharmacological services to individuals under the age of 19. Now, both organizations do add that they do still provide mental health services for individuals. There's still more ahead on Intersections. I want to thank my guests for being here. This is a really interesting topic. Thank you so much for the perspective you all have provided. Up next, keeping the Christmas spirit alive with an annual toy drive. The local organization celebrating 30 years of giving. This year, the Iota chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated is celebrating 30 years of holiday joy. Each year since 1995, the chapter has given out hundreds of toys for the Pittsburgh Omega Christmas Toy Giveaway. And this year, the need is even greater. I'm joined by two fraternity members, Joe Washington and Marcus Gaines-Cherry. Thank you both for being here. 30 years, oh my God, tell me, how does it feel?
It feels great. It actually feels great, and it's great for us to give back to the community because that's what we're a part of. Our fraternity is a service-driven organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing opportunity to be able to serve the community that needs us to be there for them.
Yeah, it's a really big milestone. Just backtracking here, let's talk a little bit about when it started in 1995. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Okay. In 1995, even though I wasn't here, I didn't come to this community until 2004. But listening to many of the brothers who were talking about it, they were like, okay, we want to do something for the community, and we want to do it in a fairly significant way. And at the time, our fraternity center was located in East Liberty. And so that was the community that we wanted to serve. And of course, over the years, we've grown and we've become a little bit more more generous with our opportunity and helping more members of the community. So maybe I think in 1995, it was about 200 toys and about 100 families that we were serving. And now we are going to serve, or we have served, about 1,200 toys and about 400 and 500 families.
Wow, that's a lot. How does that compare to, let's say, last year?
Okay, last year, it's going to be about the same for the most part, but of course, everything has gone up as far as expenses. So we had to come out of pocket a little bit more. So, and it's great, organizations that sponsor us, like Rivers Casino, which is our lead sponsor. They've helped us mend up, we'll say, a lot of the gaps. And where we didn't get donations from individuals or from brothers before, the casino has really helped us come through.
Yeah, yeah. And what was it like handing those toys, seeing people's smiles? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think watching the joy on the kids' faces as you hand them the toy, I think especially right now, there's a need for happiness, right? So being able to see not only the child, but the family, the moms and the dads sipping their hot cocoa and getting their toys, right? And just overall being in the holiday spirit, it's very warming, especially to the soul.
Yeah, and I understand you guys are not just, you guys didn't just give away toys.
No. Yeah, we gave away turkeys and ham. So we helped that Christmas dinner out a lot as well. You mentioned how did it feel to see them get the toys. It also felt great to see the parents juggling that ham while they're chasing after their child and listening to the music. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, especially at a time when, people have faced so much economic uncertainty, even for Thanksgiving, people didn't know if they were going to be able to get a turkey. And now here you guys are coming in, stepping in to fill in the gaps.
And it's great. And again, part of our sole mission is that, community support. And again, the economic times, as you stated, they are tough. And we're just trying to find a way to give back to the space and to the community.
Yeah, and in the next 30 years, what do you want to see happen with this major event that you guys always put together?
I'll try to take that, Marcus, if you don't mind. So in the next 30 years, we would like to see this really say more than double, right? And how do we do that? One, is going to be more support from the brothers within, and as well as probably partnering with other people in order to expand it, but then also to really get other corporations involved so that not only will we receive their monetary gifts, but maybe some of their support and their help as well. Because what we're doing, all the fraternity brothers and the foundation, we're all volunteers, 100%. And so to grow it, either we have to grow our numbers in the fraternity, to that space, or we have to find other means within the community to do it.
Yeah, because this year, how much, was it $12,000 worth of toys?
Yes, and I'll let you talk on that.
Yeah, no, again, Joe mentioned our lead sponsor, Rivers Gives, donated a significant amount to that. But yeah, we scoured the store aisles for toys, ranging age groups between 0 and even all the way up to 13. So being able to, provide those great mini toys to all of the families that came through. As Joe mentioned, we had about 500 families, which equated to a little over 1,200 children. So,
Yeah, and when you go shopping for the toys, are you strategically picking out certain toys? Because you guys had drones, you guys had digital cameras. Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh my God, it's Christmas. Like, I want to go shopping.
Yeah, so one, we have a close ear to the ground when it comes to young people and what's hip and what's in now. So we want to make sure that when we're shopping for toys, we're looking for things that one, are educational to the young people who need it, but then also that they're going to actually want, right? You never want to go to a toy drive, you never want to receive a toy that you're not going to play with. So we want to make sure that when we're shopping, we're looking for those it toys, those toys that, you know, we're all going to want to, the children all are going to play with.
Yeah, I saw a lot of black dolls.
Yes. It's a big
Is that
emphasis.
strategic?
Yes, so it is. And so, and you mentioned in the initiation of the toy drive, one of the primary drivers was we wanted to give the young people or our young people an opportunity to take a picture with a soulful Santa, right? And be in that photo. So with that, we also want the toys to reflect the children, and so they can see themselves in the toys and see themselves in the games and see themselves in the world. So we give away a lot of black dolls. We give away, you know, they have that opportunity still to take a picture with a soulful Santa and sip on the hot chocolate. But yeah, it's very strategic.
Okay, explain what a soulful Santa is for our viewers who are watching who don't know.
Yes, a soulful Santa is, and I mentioned we serve the north side of there, which is a predominantly black area. So a soulful Santa is a Santa that looks like the community, one that is filled with joy, filled with soul, and filled with music, happy and smiling all the way.
Yes. I also saw a doctor's kit. I thought that was so cute. I do definitely want another one of those toys that sends a message.
Yeah.
Right. And because, again, our fraternity, we are, you know, college-educated men, right? And we do have doctors, we do have lawyers, we do have, you know, scientists, we have bankers, we have, you know, everything under the spectrum.
Journalists,
And
Fred Williams,
journalists,
one of our
absolutely, we do.
photographers here at KDKA.
We do. So we understand as professional men what it will take and what it takes to be there. And so when we see young people and they say they have these aspirations, we know sometimes, you know, many times what it will take to go through it. So we mentor a lot of these kids. So after we give them toys, then we watch them grow in many cases because they come back year after year.
Yeah, you all definitely have a great eye. Thank you all so much for being here, gentlemen, and thank you for the work that you do. We really, truly appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you. So I'll have my last word when we come back. I want to thank you all for watching Intersections this month. If you have something you would like us to cover, please send your inquiry to my email at the bottom of your screen, mamie.bah@cbs.com. Also, Black History Month is right around the corner. If you have anything you would like us to spotlight, send those ideas over as well. We'll see you next time on Intersections. Thank you.